They kicked her out, believing lies whispered by the sister they trusted. Homeless and heartbroken, she vanished without a word. But in silence, she built an empire. Years later, their lives would cross again, and the girl they cast aside would hold the power they never imagined she'd have. Ava, tired after a long day at work, steps into her home expecting peace. But instead, she walks into a trap. Her family waits, faces tight with emotion. Her parents look at her like a stranger, eyes watery, while her sister Haley stands ready, voice shaky but rehearsed. Without asking for her side, they accuse Ava of stealing Haley's college money. Words like selfish and toxic are thrown around. They say she's been a burden, not doing enough. No one listens. No one asks why. The air is heavy with blame, and it's clear. She's no longer welcome. They don't argue. They just tell her to go. Confused and heartbroken, Ava gathers what she can. That night, she has nowhere to turn. She ends up sitting in her car, parked under a dim streetlight. It's quiet, cold, and the first time she truly feels alone. She scrolls through her phone, but there are no messages, no missed calls, just silence. She doesn't cry. She doesn't scream. She just stares ahead, stunned. Everything she thought she knew about love and family crumbles in that moment. The people she had worked so hard for had turned their backs without even asking for the truth. Her whole life had changed in a single evening. And now, with the weight of betrayal on her chest and nowhere else to go, Ava shuts her eyes in the driver's seat, her car becoming the only space left that's hers. That night, without any idea what tomorrow holds, she learns something painful. Sometimes, the people you fight hardest for are the first to throw you away. Before the blame and the silence, Ava lived a life no one noticed. When her dad lost his job and the house grew tense, she quietly stepped in. She found another job, then another. She woke up before the sun to clean empty buildings and stayed up late serving tables, her feet aching and her mind numb. But she never told anyone. She didn't want thanks. She just wanted to help. While Haley dreamed about colleges, Ava worked behind the scenes, filling out scholarship forms, writing essays under her sister's name, and searching for grants that would lighten the load. Each time Haley received good news, Ava smiled from a distance and let her take the credit. It wasn't about recognition. It was about love. The money everyone believed was stolen had gone to the basics. It paid the electricity bill when they were days from darkness. It kept the internet running so Haley could finish her classes. It bought groceries when the cabinets were nearly empty. Ava kept nothing for herself. She didn't go out. She wore the same shoes until they tore. And still, she never said a word. When the accusations came, she stood quietly. When they called her selfish, she swallowed her pain. When they told her to leave, she didn't fight. No one saw the nights she came home after midnight, hands sore and body tired. No one noticed her skipping meals, so there would be enough for everyone else. She was the one who kept things together when everything was falling apart, yet no one cared to ask. They were too quick to believe a story without truth. Ava didn't argue. She didn't try to change their minds. She took their anger and left, carrying a heart full of unspoken sacrifice. And they never knew, because they never bothered to look. Ava scrolls through listings with tired eyes and a heavy heart. Every place feels out of reach, but she finally finds a small room on Craigslist. It's nothing like home, just a mattress on the floor, a window that doesn't shut properly, and walls so thin she hears the arguments next door like they're happening in her own space. The stairs groan beneath every step, and the shared bathroom is always occupied when she needs it. Still, it's hers. For the first time in weeks, she has a roof over her head that no one can take from her. Rent is steep for what she's getting, so she picks up a third job. Now she cleans early mornings, works a cash register during the day, and serves food into the night. Her body aches constantly. Time blends together. She forgets what it's like to rest. There's no break, no room to breathe. But she keeps going because there's no other option. She eats cheap meals, saves every coin, and keeps her head down. During lunch breaks, when others scroll through their phones or chat, Ava sits quietly with borrowed headphones and an old second-hand laptop. One day, she stumbles upon a free online coding course. She clicks out of curiosity, but something clicks back. It's confusing at first, full of strange terms and logic that doesn't make sense. But unlike everything else in her life, coding gives her control. She can build something from nothing. She can fix errors. She can restart when things go wrong. It becomes her escape. She watches videos late at night, rewinds lessons, takes notes, and practices between shifts. Her room stays dim, the mattress stays flat, but her world starts growing. Every bug she solves, every line she understands, feels like a step towards something better. While her neighbors fight, she types. While the stairs creak, she dreams. No one around her knows what she's doing. To them, she's just another tired girl trying to get by. But behind the cracked walls and sleepless nights, something powerful is building. Line by line, day by day, Ava is learning how to rewrite her story. 3 years go by, not with noise or attention, but with quiet, focused effort. Ava never tried to go viral. She didn't chase likes or followers. She spent her time building something real. What started with free lessons in a cramped room slowly turned into a skill. She took on small jobs, fixing bugs, designing simple features, working through the night for clients who barely paid. But she didn't stop. Each task brought new lessons, and each lesson built her confidence. She began to understand not just how to code, but how to solve problems, how to manage timelines, and how to listen closely to what users really needed. Ava took everything she learned and started her own freelance business. It wasn't glamorous. There were no offices or logos, just her, a laptop, and a growing list of clients who kept coming back. She didn't announce her progress. She didn't message her family to update them. They had made their choice, and she had made hers. Her world stayed small, but steady. Word started spreading in certain corners of the tech space, especially in industries where people didn't want flash, just results. Her name, now Ray, began appearing in inboxes and referrals. Quiet praise, quiet power. One company, a fast-growing healthcare tech startup, had been struggling to find someone who could fix their messy product flow. Deadlines were missed, features broke, users complained. They needed someone who could lead without ego and build with care. A name was passed along to them, someone who didn't market herself, but delivered. Ray. They reached out. By now, Ava knew her worth. She didn't chase the job. She didn't beg for interviews. She just showed her work. Her code spoke louder than any pitch. Her calm, clear way of thinking stood out. The startup saw not just talent, but someone who could anchor the chaos. And in a world that once silenced her, her quiet approach had become her greatest strength. Ava steps into a tall glass building in the heart of downtown, the kind that makes people straighten their backs and fix their collars. She walks with calm steps, dressed simply but sharp. She doesn't need to prove herself. Her work already did that. The elevator ride is quiet. She looks at her reflection in the silver doors, not to check her appearance, but to remind herself how far she's come. This isn't the girl who once cried herself to sleep in a parked car. This is someone rebuilt from the ground up. She enters the meeting room where the interview is scheduled. It's clean, modern, with a view of the skyline. As she steps inside, a woman looks up from a tablet and smiles politely. But then, something odd flickers in Ava's chest. That face, that voice. It's Haley, her sister. But Haley doesn't react. She sees the name Ray on the resume and assumes she's meeting a stranger. She extends a hand, professional and cool. Hi, I'm Haley. I lead branding here. Glad you could make it. Ava doesn't flinch. She shakes her hand with a calm smile. Nice to meet you. There's no hesitation in her tone. No need to correct her. She listens as Haley explains the company culture, the role, the product. Haley talks as if she's helping Ava, maybe even doing her a favor. Ava just nods along, polite and engaged, answering questions with confidence, but never revealing the truth. Every now and then, there's a slight pause in Haley's words, like something feels familiar, but she brushes it off. To her, Ray is just another name on a well-designed resume. To Ava, it's a shield, a choice she made to protect herself and start over. And right now, it's working. The conversation flows easily. Ava speaks with quiet authority. She doesn't need to impress. Her experience speaks for itself. Haley seems pleased, even a little surprised by how capable this Ray is. The meeting ends with a handshake and a promise to follow up. As Ava leaves the room, she doesn't look back. She doesn't feel revenge. She feels peace. No words needed to be said. The past didn't have to be dragged into the present. What mattered was that she got there on her own. She walked into that room fully herself, and Haley had no idea the woman she just tried to impress was the same one they'd thrown out years ago, and that was enough. A week after the interview, Ava receives the offer. It's official. She's hired. She doesn't celebrate loudly or call anyone. She simply updates her calendar and gets ready to begin. The new office is sleek, fast-paced, and filled with bright minds. On her first day, she walks in like she belongs. Because she does. Her title is clear. She'll be leading the product roadmap, guiding the direction of what the company builds next. It's a huge step, but to Ava, it feels earned. She spends her first few days meeting teams, reviewing systems, and getting up to speed. Her presence is quiet but sharp. She listens more than she speaks. But when she does talk, everyone pays attention. People are drawn to her calm focus, her ability to make sense of chaos. She brings direction without ego, and the team responds well. No one knows her story. They only know Ray, the woman who's here to lead. Then comes the first big meeting with the branding team. Ava walks in, notebook in hand, prepared to outline strategy. The room is casual until Haley enters. She's mid-conversation, laughing with a colleague, until her eyes land on the person at the head of the table. Her body stiffens, her steps slow, the smile fades. Her brain tries to catch up with what her eyes are seeing, but it's too late. The manager stands up and begins introductions. This is Ray. She's leading the product roadmap going forward. Haley, you'll be working closely with her. The room is silent for a beat too long. Haley's mouth opens slightly, but no words come out. Ava just nods with a steady expression, like this is any other meeting. No raised eyebrows, no attitude, just clear, steady leadership. She treats Haley the same as everyone else, with professionalism and purpose. No past, no drama, no need to remind anyone who she is. Haley can barely hold her composure. She nods slowly, mumbles a greeting, and takes a seat, but her eyes stay locked on Ava like she's trying to solve a puzzle. The person she once looked down on, the one they pushed away, now sits in a seat of power, without saying a word about it. Ava doesn't explain herself. She doesn't hint at anything. She focuses on the roadmap, asks clear questions, and assigns tasks. To her, this moment isn't about revenge. It's just the next step in her journey. She earned her place through skill, not spite. And Haley, for the first time, is left speechless, not by what was said, but by what wasn't. That night, after the meeting where Ava led with calm authority and Haley sat frozen in shock, the family group chat lights up for the first time in months. Notifications pop up one after another. The same chat that had gone cold since the day they told her to leave suddenly wakes up with bright, cheerful words. Haley told us you got a new job. Wow, one message says. Another follows quickly. We're so proud of you. Ava stares at the screen, the glow reflecting on her face in the dark. Her hands stay still. She reads every word, but types nothing. She knows what triggered it. Haley must have gone home that day with her head spinning, trying to make sense of what had just happened. And instead of saying the full truth, she probably told just enough to spark interest, enough to shift the silence. Now they all want to come back, not because they suddenly understand her journey, but because they can now see some kind of success. They didn't care when she was tired, broke, or hurting, but now, when her name is tied to something impressive, they remember her again. Then, a voice note appears from her father. She taps it gently. His voice is softer than she remembers, filled with hesitation. We were misled. We just didn't know everything. Can we talk, please? He sounds like a man trying to walk back a mistake that's already lived too long in silence. Ava listens to every second. She lets the silence settle after it ends. Then, without expression, she deletes it. There's no anger in her, no yelling, no tears. Just a quiet kind of peace that comes from knowing you no longer need what once broke you. She doesn't need their praise. She doesn't need an apology wrapped in regret. She needed them back then, when she was sleeping in a car, when no one asked for her side, when they believed the worst of her without a single question. But now, her life has changed, and their sudden interest doesn't move her. It doesn't undo the years they went missing. The chat stays unread. She doesn't answer the messages. She closes the app, sets her phone down, and goes back to her notes for tomorrow's planning session. Her focus isn't on the past anymore. She has goals, meetings, and a team that respects her because of her skills, not her last name. She's not chasing validation. She's not looking back. Ava doesn't slam the door. She simply lets it stay closed. And in that silence, there is power. A few weeks into the role, Ava starts noticing small patterns in the reports. Metrics from the branding team don't line up with the outcomes. Campaigns show high costs but low return. Documents are vague, missing details. At first, she observes quietly, double-checking everything before taking action. She isn't looking to cause trouble. She's just doing her job, same as always, with precision and care. But the deeper she looks, the clearer it becomes. The numbers don't lie, and something is off. She compares performance data, reviews timelines, and checks the task logs. It becomes clear that Hayley's work has been sliding under the radar. Projects marked as complete have gaps. Goals aren't met, yet reports suggest success. It's not dramatic, it's just lazy. And in any other case, Ava would handle it the same way. She compiles her findings and schedules a meeting with leadership. She walks in calmly, presents her findings, and lets the numbers speak for themselves. No frustration, no blame, just honest accountability. Leadership listens carefully. They know Ava doesn't bring up issues lightly. A performance review is scheduled for Hayley's department. When Hayley hears the news, she quickly realizes who flagged the issues. That evening, Ava's phone buzzes with a message from her. "Please don't do this." A single sentence filled with panic. But Ava doesn't hesitate. She replies with just one line. "This isn't personal, just accountability." She doesn't say it to hurt her. She doesn't enjoy the moment. She's simply upholding the standard expected of everyone, including her. It's never been about payback. If it had been anyone else, she would have done the same. She doesn't bring up the past, doesn't remind Hayley of what happened years ago. This is a workplace, not a battleground. The next few days are tense in the office. Whispers circulate. Hayley is quieter now, showing up on time, sending longer emails, trying to clean up the mess. But Ava doesn't look her way. She's too focused on the product, the next sprint, and making sure the company moves forward. She didn't come here for drama. She came here to lead. What stings most for Hayley isn't the review itself, but the way Ava handled it. No gloating, no digs. Just the same cool professionalism that's made Ava respected by everyone else. That kind of silence holds more weight than any revenge ever could. Everyone at the company sees Ava as the strong one, the fair one. They don't know the history behind that calm. They just see someone who stands on her own 2 feet, no matter who's across the table. Ava never needed to bring up what happened years ago. Her work speaks now, and the message is clear. Standards apply to everyone, no matter what the past holds. A few days after the review, Ava receives a message she wasn't expecting. Her parents want to meet. No pressure, they say, just a conversation. She thinks about it for a while before finally agreeing. They meet at a quiet cafe, not too crowded, not too loud. When they see her, there's a mix of awkwardness and emotion in their eyes. Her father fumbles through the first words. Her mother reaches across the table, but pulls her hand back before touching Ava's. The apology comes slowly. It's not perfect, but it's real. They admit they believed the wrong version of events. They admit they should have asked more questions, paid more attention. They say they're sorry for pushing her out, for not listening, for letting her walk away without even a chance to explain. Ava listens quietly, without interrupting. She hears the pain in their voices, the regret in their silence. But she doesn't cry. She doesn't rush to forgive. She takes her time. Eventually, she nods and says the words they hoped for. "I forgive you." But then she adds something that settles heavily between them. That doesn't mean things go back to how they were. They look surprised, but she continues. "Family doesn't mean I owe you access. It means I expected better." There's no anger in her tone, just truth. Later that week, Hayley shows up at Ava's apartment unannounced. She stands at the door, tears already in her eyes. Ava opens it, unsure what to expect. Hayley steps inside, still carrying years of confusion and guilt. "Why didn't you ever defend yourself?" she asks, voice cracking. "Why didn't you tell us the truth?" Ava looks at her, calm and steady. "Because I didn't need to," she says. "I just needed to survive." That answer hits harder than any long explanation ever could. It says everything. Hayley sits in silence, realizing how much Ava had carried alone, how much they missed, ignored, or chose not to see. Ava doesn't offer hugs. She doesn't make promises. She lets the silence fill the space, because sometimes the quiet is where the truth lives. She knows now that not every wound gets stitched back together. Some things heal in their own time. Others don't need to. That meeting isn't a beginning. It's not a reunion. It's simply a moment of honesty. Ava knows that moving forward doesn't always mean bringing everyone with you. Some connections are better left soft and distant, without resentment, but also without closeness. She walks Haley to the door. They share a long look, one that says more than words ever could. And then Ava closes it gently. No slam, no drama, just peace. Closure didn't come wrapped in big gestures. It came in choosing her boundaries. It came in knowing she didn't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. And in that quiet strength, Ava finally felt free. Ava turns the key and steps into her new apartment. It's quiet, warm, and filled with light from the tall windows. The hardwood floors shine under the soft afternoon sun. For the first time, the space feels like it's truly hers. No roommates, no shared walls with strangers, no borrowed corners of someone else's home. Every detail inside is something she chose, from the simple kitchen table to the soft rug in the living room. Her name is on the lease, not someone else's. Heron alone. She walks from room to room, taking it all in. The silence is comforting, not lonely. She can breathe here, think clearly, rest without fear of being judged or questioned. This isn't just a new address. It's proof that everything she built through quiet hustle, long nights, and silent strength was real. No one gave her this. She earned it, one line of code, one project, one client at a time. In the small home office, she hangs a frame on the wall. It's not a photo of smiling faces or family memories. Inside is the image of her very first business paycheck, faded but meaningful. Below it, she tapes a handwritten note, just one line, simple but powerful. You don't always have to fight to win. Sometimes you just have to outgrow the war. She reads it once more before stepping back. That sentence holds everything she's lived through, every misunderstanding, every night in her car, every time she chose silence over shouting. This home isn't the end of her journey. It's the beginning of a life on her own terms. She doesn't need applause. She doesn't need validation. She's already won in the quietest, most powerful way, by becoming someone who no longer needs to prove her worth. She smiles, closes the door, and finally lets herself rest. If Ava's journey moved you, share this with someone who needs to be reminded. You don't always have to fight to win. Sometimes, growth is the quietest revenge. Thanks for watching.